Okay, Freilich and Chanukah, everyone. As we wish everybody a good Chodesh as we start the month of Teves. It should be a month of Teves, of good things. And we're sponsored by A.B. Spry for the soldiers and for safety of Klal Yisrael in general, rescue of the hostages for Issachar ben Yuta, and AB is sponsoring the Chumash here, so we should say now also that we're learning Lila Nishmas, his mother, Esther Pesel Bas Yitzchak, on the Neshama should have an Aliyah by Shimon Klein, Lila Nishma, Asher Anshe ben Yehuda, Gidel Bas Shimon Pinchas, Irving Fishbaum, for his Gesund, Issa ben Rezel, Avig Derayim ben Rivka, and Meir ben Chaya Sarah. We are holding on Daf Mem Aleph Amud Aleph, a little bit ahead at the new Mishnah. So Shor Shenogach Es Adam, a shor that gores a human, umeis, and the shor dies. Excuse me, a shor that gores a human, umeis, and the human dies. So Mumuid Mishalem Kaifer. If the shor had already gored beforehand 3 times, so then the owner pays kaifer, a ransom. The tam, but a tam is pater min kaifer. V'zeh, whether the shor killed once or killed 3 times, chayav misa, it's put to death. Now the Gemara is going to ask promptly, if it's put to death after the first time, how does it ever become a mu'at? It's not around for the 3rd time because it's put to death after the first time. B'chein beben, b'chein bebas. Not only if it kills an adult, but also if it kills a boy or a girl. The halacha is still true that the axe is stoned, and if it was a mu'ad, owner pays kaifer. Nogach eved oyama, if it gores an eved kanani or a shifcha kananis, the din is that the penalty, you don't pay the value of the eved. Noising shloishim slum is a penalty of 30 shkalim. Bein shu yafa me'amana, even if this slave pitched for the New York Yankees and he's worth me'amana. Bein she'en yafa el dinner echad, or he's worthless and he's only worth a dinner. There's a fixed knas that you pay of 30 shkalim. So now the Gemara right away asks the obvious question. How do you ever have a mu'ad that it should gore 3 times if you have to execute it already after the first time?
It didn't kill the first time.
It's only a mu'ad if it kills 3 times.
Well, if it gores 3 times.
No. It becomes a mu'ad, well, if it gores 3 times, it's going to be mu'ad for an animal.
Right.
But if it gores 3 times an animal, it's not a mu'ad for an adam. The only way if it could become a mu'ad to killing a man is if it kills 3 people. And if it kills 3 people, then it had to be executed the first time. So asks the Gemara, if we already kill it when it kills the first man, how do you have a case where it becomes a mu'ad? What happens is that you evaluate it, that it would have killed 3 people. That means it ran after 3 different people, and the people escaped. But we evaluate that if they wouldn't have dodged it, it would have killed them. So it's not put to death because it didn't kill them, but the owner should get already the clear notion that this animal is a mu'ad, because if they wouldn't have made evasive maneuvers, they would have been very dead. Rav Ashi says that's not enough to make it a mu'ad. A mu'ad is only if it's out of control and it kills people. Umdana, that we would have evaluated that if they didn't take evasive maneuvers, lav klumu. That doesn't make it a mu'ad. What happens is that that this shar must be Eddie's shar. Eddie's shar You notice how he tries to hide his face with the screen over there. What happened is Eddie Shar gored 3 people, and what happened is that they were all in sakana, and they all died the same time. So we know that it's a mu'ud because it already gored 3 people with death blows. Now, we didn't get a chance to put the mu'ud down, to put the tam down, because the people didn't die yet. As Rashi says, "Lefikach loy niska b'shnayim harishayim." Ukishinagach shlishi, when it gored the 3rd time, meisu kulam, they all died. And we're going to learn now, because we're going to try to make it consistent with the whole sugya over here. And before we got a chance to kill him, now he gored again. So he has to pay kaifer. Now here Rav Zvid attempts to say something like Berish said. Rav Zvid amakagoin shaharik shleish behemoths. It killed 3 animals. It killed 3 animals. For killing an animal, you won't put it to death. And it became a mu'ud because it killed 3 animals. So the Gemara says doesn't work, because an animal that's a mu'ud to gore animals is not a mu'ud to gore a human. It killed 3 pagans. The shah is not put to death for killing a pagan, but it becomes a mu'ud because it killed the 3 pagans. Says Yisrael. Does that make it a mu'ud Yisrael? Yisrael has more schusim. Yisrael has more mitzvahs, and therefore if it could kill a pagan, that doesn't mean that it's going to kill a Yisrael. You know what happened? It killed 3 people that were already had a fatal lethal problem. They had a perforated membrane in the brain, so they were going to die. Now, if a shar kills someone that was going to treifa, it's not put to death. That's the halacha. The halacha is because a treifa is considered like he's going to die anyway within the year, and therefore the shar is not put to death. So it gored 3 treifas, and that makes it a mu'ud. Says the Gemara, mu'ud l'treifa, mu'ud l'shalem, is a mu'ud for a treifa, a mu'ud for a complete person. A complete person has more vitality, has more strength, and therefore could dodge it much easier. So the fact that it killed 3 treifas would not make it a mu'ud l'shalem. Ella Amar Papa, and this is if you remember when I was giving you a scoop about this is the pshat that I told you. What happened is Eddie Shar killed someone, and Eddie immediately caused it to disappear deep into the marsh. So we didn't put it to death. Then it killed again, and Eddie made it disappear again. It killed, and Eddie made it disappear into the marsh. And therefore that happened 3 times, and then the 4th time when it kills, Eddie would be chayiv kaifer. And by the way, I want to mention outright that we want to learn for Dr. Udell, who has COVID, that he should have a refuah shalema b'seich sharchel Yisrael. In case you're worried, Rabbi Yisai, I pay an extra monthly fee on Zoom, an anti-COVID screen, so you don't have to worry about catching anything. It is one of the perks of this share. There is an anti-COVID layer on the Zoom. Now, of course, you know that the Zoom Daf itself came about because of COVID. That's why it came about. I was in my house, and I said share on Zoom. That's I don't know if you remember, Rabbi, say, but I myself had flurona. I had corona and the flu, and I continued to give shir for my house upstairs. Says the Gemara, that was here in Fairways. You remember that?
I was on the Yomi back then.
I had flurona. I had COVID and the flu at the same time.
I remember you having
Yeah. We weren't lucky enough to have you yet. Rav Acha Bereid Rav Ika Amar, this is an interesting case. Kagoin Shohuzmu Zaimamei Zaimaman. This is a very interesting case. Eddie, his shore guard, and Dr. Udell and Stephen testified that he gored. Then Shimon and Dr. Guy said that Elliot and Stephen couldn't have been there because they were in Atlantic City that day. So then we don't put the shor to death because the Adam became Zaymaman. And it gored again. And it gored a third time. But then Yitzi Padower and Yitzi Fuchs came, the two Yitzes, and they said, well, Dr. Guy and Shimon Klein can't impugn Dr. Udell and Stephen, because on that day they say they were in Atlantic City, they were with us in Acapulco. So that reinstates Elliot, Udell, and Stephen, and now the shor has gored 3 times. Says the Gemara, let's see it inside. We were amazing the Adam that said that Dr. Udell and Stephen were Zaymamim, and now we made those that said that they were Zaymamim into Zaymam. We say that Shimon and Dr. Guy, they were the ones that were the Zaymamim. And now, therefore, we reinstitute the testimony of Stephen and Elliot Udell. But by now already the shor has gored 3 times. Now the Gemara says, yeah, but then how could you blame Eddie? If the idea is to make the shor a mu'id, well, ipso facto, the shor is a mu'id. If we need to warn Eddie could say, I'm just finding out now that the shor is mu'id. I had to have 3 warnings in order to be chayiv. But you're now just telling me now that retroactively all the testimonies that the shor gored were true, but I only have 1 warning. I didn't know until now. I didn't have 3 warnings. So says the Gemara, no, Kigain de Amre, what happened is okay, we welcome in Pesach Siegelman and Mark Franco finishing their sufganiot. It takes a lot. On the 7th day, they eat 7 sufganiot, so it takes a lot to eat 7 sufganiot. So Mark managed to get himself out of the chair after those 7 sufganiot and come over to the computer. Better late than never, says the Gemara. Says the Gemara, what happened is that Stephen and Dr. Udell said that each time the shor gored, Eddie was there. So Eddie can't claim he wasn't warned. Says the Gemara, that's a clever answer. Kigain de Amre, Kol Amos de Katel Ture, whenever Eddie's shor gored, Gabei Avikai, he was there. So he can't claim it's the first that I know of it now. Ravina says another clever answer. B'makirin es balashar, where they know that it was Eddie's ox. But the aim makirin es ashar. But they didn't know which shar it was. Interesting. They knew that it was one of Eddie's oxen, and therefore, we don't put it to death because they can't pinpoint which one it is. So the Gemara says, then my hava leila melvet. Then how could it become a mu'at if they didn't say which shar it is? Then how does he know which one to guard? And then at the time that the third goring, at the time of the third goring, they at the time of the fourth goring, they recognized that this was the one that gored the 3 times. So the Gemara says, yeah, but my havilei nemevad. What could he have done? He didn't know beforehand which shar it was to give it the proper shmira. So the Gemara says, no, we tell Eddie, if you were warned that an ox gored from your flock 3 times, you should have had to watch your whole flock because you have a goring ox. You have a goring ox. You should have guarded all of your oxen.
But that was only a tam. He was only a tam at that point. He wasn't a muad.
No. What happened was is they told him 3 times, one of your oxen gored. They can't say which one it is. But they said it was the same one.
Oh, they knew which one it was.
They said no, they didn't. They couldn't identify it.
Right, they couldn't identify it. So
when they came to the flock, they couldn't identify one from the other. But at the time that they saw it, they saw that it was the same one all the time.
Okay.
So therefore they said, you have a killing ox in your flock. Now, the din is, both a tam and a muad is chayav misa. Now here the Gemara tells us, Tan Rabbanan, it says that you should stone the shar. That's the din, that a shar that gored, Eddie shar that gored, by Eddie it's easy come, easy go. He really he travels a lot, he doesn't have room for shvarim. But so it's easy come, easy go. But the din is when Eddie shar gores and kills someone, it's stoned. So now it also says that you can't eat it. So Eddie says, duh. If you stone it, of course you can't eat it. You didn't do shchita. So the Gemara says, since it says the shar is stoned, don't I know that it's an avela? What do we learn from lo yachal es b'sarai? Obviously you can't eat it if it's stoned. So the Gemara says, Magid lachakasev, this is Eddie you're talking about. She'im shachtoi la'acher shenig dinai, that if when it gores and they condemn it to death, Eddie says, I don't want to lose. I like steak. I want steak for the winter. So before they take it to stone it, he quickly shacks it. So the din is aser b'achila. That's why it says lo yachal es b'sarai, to tell you that if Eddie was hot to trot and he says, look, I don't want to lose my cowboy steaks for the winter, and he hurries up and shacks it before they get a chance to stone it, it's aser b'achila. Now the Gemara says, Ein li ela b'achila. I only know that it's aser b'achila, b'hano minayin. How do I know that Eddie can't even benefit? He can't even sell it to a guy. The owner of the shar is clean. It means he has nothing. My mashma. What do we see from Bala Shor Naki? That it means he can't even have a no. So Shimon ben Zayim, he was stripped clean of his property. So Balashar Naki means that Eddie gets nothing from it. So the Gemara says, how do you know that this is Pshat? You know, there's a famous drasha of Rabbi Avo, that when the Torah says lo ye'achal or lo yisaychal, it means both Isra Achila and Isra Ana. Because in one place in the Torah it says that you can't eat nevela, but you could sell it to a guy or give it to a ger. So it's only over there. But elsewhere where it says lo ye'achal without any provision, it means that you can't even benefit. So suggests the Gemara, how do you know that lo yachal b'sara is coming to tell you that if Eddie is hat to trot and he shechts it before we get a chance to stone it? Shas b'achila, maybe not. If Eddie is hot to trot and he shechts it before the skila, shari b'achila. Why does it have to say lo yachal? Obviously, if you stone it, you can't eat it. Lo yachas b'sara is coming to tell me that you can't benefit from it after it's stoned. You can't even sell the meat to a guy. And how would we know that from lo yachal? Kid Rabbi Avo, the famous drush of Rabbi Avo. Amar Rabbi Avo, Amar Rabbi Lazar, Kol Makom Shenema lo yachal lo yisaychal lo yisaychlu. Echad Isra Achila v'Echad Ichad Ana mashma is mashma both an Isra Achila and an Isra Ana. Until the Torah says beferish that you're allowed to use it. By nevela it says you can't eat it, and there it says you could use it. The german has seen it to give it to a ger. Ger means a resident alien who's makabel not to be over the 7 Noahide laws. You could sell it to a guy. But elsewhere, if it just says lo ye'achal without any allowance of ana, it means an Isra Ana too. So it's coming to tell you that imsaka yisakal ashar, you're not allowed to have ana from it. Says the Gemara, Imre, where would it say lo ye'achal? Only where it's also teaching you an Isra Achila. Hani mileyech denafik le Isra Achila ve'Isra Ana. Mikra, from the pasuk of lo ye'achal. But over here, we don't need it from lo yachal to tell us that it's asa b'achila. It's asa b'achila because he stoned it. If it just wants to say in Isra Ana, it should have just said lo yehana. Is just coming to tell me in Isra Ana. So nichterach lo yehana, don't benefit from it. Inami, lo yachal, just say lo yachal. Es b'sarai lamali. Why does it say es b'sarai? Oh, it says es b'sarai to tell me that even if it's like basar, that means that Eddie shechted it before they got a chance to stone it. The afal gav the ovdei kein basar, the shachtei, even so asr. So the Gemara says, now the Gemara tries one interesting attempt. Maybe where is it asr? If you shecht it with a rock. You could shecht it with a sharpened rock. Because maybe then it's asa because it's like skila because you're using a rock. Says the Gemara, maybe as we turn the page to Daf Mem Aleph Amud Beis, it's good to go at a fast rate because we have a chumash here after this. Very, very fascinating chumash here. Hani mili. That's if you checked a rock and you did the shchita with it, the ovdei kein skila, where it's similar to skila. Aval heicha the shachta b'sakin, but where you shechted it with a sakin before we got a chance to stone it, maybe it wouldn't be asur. So the Gemara says, no, that doesn't make sense. Because the Torah says shchita, and it doesn't say that the normal case of shchita is with a knife. Shchita is with anything, so it doesn't make sense to make a difference between one type of shchita and another. Imrei otus saking siva baraisa, it doesn't say that the proper shchita is with a knife. But tanana sheichet b'mangal yad, if you shech with a sickle, but tzur with a rock, or b'kanu with a sharpened reed, shchitasa ksheira. So now the Gemara says, let's go back to the drush. So how do we know an Isser Anah? Because it says lo yachal. We said any place where it says lo yachal, it's even asba anah. V'ashta denafkele Isser Achilav, Isser Anah, Melo yachal es besarai, then why do we need Balashar Naki? We already know that it can't benefit from it. So Balashar Naki lamali, that's coming to tell you that not only can Eddie not use, if he slaughtered it before the skila, he cannot use it, he cannot sell it to a guy, but he cannot even benefit from the hides. La'anois ayrai. Oh. Because I might think, the pasuk says, Lo yachal es besarai. I might think the Sokatay to Kamina besarai hu da'asabana. Aval ayrai, the hide, nishrei bana. Kavash malon balashar naki. Now the Gemara says, Ulahanach Tanoi, there are Tanoim that learn out other drushes from Balashar Naki. We'll learn about that tomorrow night. The Mapkele Lahai Balashar Naki Ladrasha Achrina, how do we know that you're not allowed to benefit from the hide? Come on, like we're going to talk about later. Hanas Ayroi Minolo. How do you know that you're not allowed to benefit from the hide? Whether you shechted it, whether you stoned it. How do you know that you're not allowed to benefit from the hide? Nafkalu me es besarai. Oh, it says the extra s. Es hatafel besarai. And what is that? My new oirai. So, and the Tana that learns it out from Balashar Naki, what does he do with the s? The high Tana, the other Tana, es loidarish. He doesn't dash in an s. Because remember, the originator of the drasha of an s is Shimon HaMsaini. He spent a long time explaining what every S in the Torah comes to include. Kedetanya Shimon HaMsaini v'imrala Nechemya HaMsaini ha'yadirish kol esim b'shem Torah. He explained every S in the Torah. Reish Bar Lekim Es HaShamayim v'Es HaAretz. He had an explanation what each S comes to include. Kevan shegil Es Hashem alikecha tira, that you should revere Hashem, and it says over there S Piresh. Because he said there could be nothing on the same plane as Hashem. So he said, my theory that S comes from a drasha must be a mistake. Because here, Es Hashem Alikecha Tira can't include something. Amalei Talmidav, so the Talmidim said, Rebbe, all that time you spent, Kol Esin Shedarashta Matei Alein, what's going to be with them? So he said, the main thing when you learn is Bakoshas HaEmes. You could work on a pshat and a sugya, and because of one kasha, the 10 hours that you spent, you have to rip up the papers. It doesn't work. He says, but you get schar for that, as long as you pursue the truth. And that's what he says. Kishem shekabalti skar ala drisha, just like I got reward for the explanation. Kakibalti skar ala prisha. Now I'm getting reward from going away from it because I feel that it's not true. And it's tremendous reward to learn Torah's emes. So here, Shimon HaMsaini or Nechemia HaMsaini, they don't darshan es. So therefore, they don't have the drush of es besarai to include R. They learn it out from Balashar Naki. At Sheba Rabbi Akiva saved all the essen, all the drushes. Until Rabbi Akiva said, you know what es Hashem Alikecha Tira comes? The limit es Hashem Alikecha Tira l'rabbis Talmidei Chacham. To include Talmidei Chacham. It's interesting. I always thought that maybe Rabbi Akiva taught this after his 24,000 Talmidim died. And they died because they weren't covered zelazeh. So now he's expounding that it's very important because the covet of Talmud Chacham is like giving covet to Hashem. Now the reason for that is we have a klal, Kutsha Berichu V'Raisa Chadu. Hashem and the Torah is one. So when a person is Talmud Chacham, he's a receptacle of godliness. Because Torah is godliness. We know this. There's a very scary Gemara in Masechtas Brachas. The pasuk says, Oizvei Hashem yichlu. Those that forsake Hashem will be destroyed. And the Gemara says, what does it mean to forsake Hashem? Zeh amaniach sefer Torah v'yatza. This is somebody that walks out of shul while the Torah is open and abandons the sefer Torah. Now, how is he an Oizvei Hashem? He's an Oizvei Torah, but how is he Oizvei Hashem? Because Kudshe Barichu V'Arais Echadu, the Torah and Hashem is one. That's why, what does it say when it says something in the Torah? Throughout Shas, when the Torah quotes a pasuk, it says, Rachmana Amar. The merciful one says, because the Torah is Hashem. So when we quote a pasuk, it's, and the Talmud Chacham contains godliness in him. Now, Tan Rabbanan, Ubala Ashar Naki. This means that if a shar gores for the first time, let's give Eddie a break. After all, Eddie was here on time. Mark's shar, right? And Mark's shar, Eddie says, what are you picking on me? My name doesn't start with an M. Don't confuse me with Marshall. On the other hand, Mark's name does start with an M, and after the M there's an A, and after the A there's an R, right? So, it's first three letters. So he's like a little Marshall Jr. So anyway, Mark Shore gores and kills someone. So it's a tam. There would be a possibility to say maybe Mark should pay Chatzi Kaifer. But says the Gemara, that's why it says Ubala Ashar Naki, that he doesn't pay Chatzi Kaifer. Let's see it inside. And everybody says I should slow down because I'm going to finish before I start. That's no good. Actually, the truth of the matter is that these dafim in Bava Kama take a very long time to say. Really, really take a very long time to say. You know what, before, I don't want to forget, I don't want to leave it to the last minute. I want to float something out to the island. I have a very big simcha Sunday evening. My Sunday evening is Miriam Libby's yahrzeit. And my son, believe it or not, it's her 6th yahrzeit. Yeah, it's hard to believe. And my son Yaakov is making a siyum hashas in her memory. I'm not talking about Shas Mishnayos. I'm talking about Shas Gemara. So it's a very, very big simcha. And I can tell you, Rabbi said that he knows it. And we're talking about people here that remember Yaakov as a very little boy. Aaron taught Yaakov. Yaakov is making a siyum hashas. Anyway, so he wants to. His Maggid Shir is saying daf at 7, and he wants to make the siyum at the 8. So I would really not like to miss it. I really not. That's because it's in honor of my wife. And also because it's my son finishing Shas. That doesn't happen, very often. Does Yomi think that at a one-time thing, we could get together on Sunday night at 6:45? Yeah. Does it work for most people?
Rabbi, could you Zoom the whole speech Sunday night?
No, I'm not. It's not. I don't want to take anything away from him over there.
Okay.
I don't want to do that. I want it to be his thing. I don't want to bring my own things there. I want him to shine.
Otherwise,
yeah.
After 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock later sometimes works better for many people.
I don't think so. Not this item. 6:45, Rabbi Isai? Eddie?
Good with me.
Good with you?
Rob, I'm flying home to Israel Sunday afternoon.
Oh, okay, it's not Nagaya. Shalom, will work for you? He doesn't know. It depends on tea time. Okay.
I will try to tune
yeah.
in then if it's
Yeah.
shaykh.
Mark? Yeah. Saba, it's good for you, no? Yeah. All right. We'll talk about it more, but I think I'm going to try. Abi, is it good for you? Okay, so Ruvain?
Yes,
Oh,
much better than
right. You're usually not here. So,
Joel Shear after.
right. All right. So
Is it for the whole week or just Sunday?
no, Sunday.
No, I'm kidding.
Sunday. So tentatively, we're going to call the share for Sunday night for 6:45. 6:45. Over here also, they're bearish. That's 6:45. I'm going to give it here, I'm sure. Okay. Anyway, says the Gemara weiter. So as we said, not to veer away from Mark Shar killing somebody, it's a tam. The owner of the shar is clean. Rabbi Eliezer Aimer Noki Mechatzi Kofer. He doesn't pay Chatzi Kofer. Says the Gemara, well, of course he doesn't pay Chatzi Kofer. It's a tam. And since the shar is killed, right, because it gored someone, so how could he be chayiv to pay? Amalei Rabbi Kiva, v'alu hu atzma yein mishtalim elam megufay. It itself, since it's a tam, only pays from the body of the shar. And Yeviula Bezdin, we bring it to Bezdin to be stoned via shalom lach. How could you have a havamina that you have to pay? So Amalei Rebbe Eliezer, so Rebbe Eliezer says to Rabbi Kiva, Kach ani beinecha? So am I in your eyes? Shedini bezeh shechayev misa? That I need to teach this with an animal that's chayev misa? No. It's talking about where Mark Shor gored only with the testimony of one witness. Or where Mark admitted. And therefore, on his own admission, it doesn't get killed. And with one witness, it doesn't get killed. It's talking about ein din el kishemis es adam al pi eid echad, oy al pi balim, or by the testimony of Mark himself. Doesn't get killed where he admits it. Says, well, but then we don't need a drasha to tell me that it's not chayiv, because it's a tam, and a tam is a knas. Al pi balim moedim a knasu. Of course, he doesn't pay chatzi kaif. So the Gemara says, kasavar kufra kapara. He holds kufra is a kapara, and therefore, if he admits to it, I might think he's chayiv chatzi kaifer, and it's not put to death because there was only one witness or by his own admission. So therefore, that's why it has to say balashar naki that we don't pay chatzi kaifer. Tanidach. Amalei Rebbe Eliezer Akiva, Kacha ni beinecha shedini bezeh shechayev misa. That I'm talking about an animal that's put to death. Obviously, if it's put to death, it can't be chatzi kaifer because it's a tam, and you have to pay only megufay, and you're killing the shar. Ein dini. I'm talking about a case where Mark's animal is not put to death. Why wouldn't he be put to death? It's talking about where the animal was aiming for another animal and inadvertently killed Chatzka. Or the Mitzri was aiming for an Egyptian, Varag Yisrael, and killed Chatzka. Or in the Nephalim, it was trying to kill a fetus, Varag Ben Kayama, and killed a healthy baby. So over there, we don't put it to death. So therefore, I might think you should be chayiv chatzi kaifer. So now the Gemara asks a cute question. Hey, Amalei Bereisha. The second pshat is a better pshat than the first pshat. Because the first pshat, that it was by one witness, there's a big cash on that. If there was one witness, then he shouldn't be mechuyev to pay Chatzi Kaifer, because you can't be Mechayev Mammon al pi Eid Echad. Ein Davar Sheb'Mammon ela b'shnayim. So the Gemara says, which one did he say first? Rav Kahana Mishmei de Rav Amar Mischaven Amalei Bereisha. He said the better pshat, that he intended to kill an animal and kill the human, and that's why it doesn't get put to death. Rav Yomi Mishmei de Rav Amar Hemes Amalei Bereisha. He said first the weaker pshat, that it killed in front of one witness, or by his own testimony. Rav Kahana Mishmei de Rav Amar Miskaven Amalei Bereisha. He said the better pshat first. Marshal Tzayid, that could be compared to a fisherman, sheshayla dogim min yam, that he was fishing and he caught fish in the sea. Mashla ravavei shakel, mishkach ravavei shakel, he catches a big one. You know how big between the eyes, Mark says? Zutrei shakel, and then the small one he also takes. So here too, he had a big fish, a good shot, and then he said the weaker shot too. He said the weaker shot first, that it killed with one witness, and then he said the better shot. Marshal the tzayit sheshayla dogim in a yan, he was catching fish. Mishkach zutrei, he catches a small one, shakel. Mishkach ravre, he catches a big one, now he has a lot for supper. Shodei zutrei, throws back the small one, mishakel ravre, and he takes the big one. Okay, Rabbi say now, the Seder Hayom is as follows. I did the Mishnah Yomis already when we were lighting Hanukkah candles, and now we're going to go straight to the Chumash here. A very, very special Chumash here.